Alright guys, welcome back to some more MX versus ATV Legends. Today we have a huge, big new update to show you. So there's a bunch of stuff in this video. I will have the patch notes on screen. You might have to pause the video if they're not there long enough to see if what you were hoping was fixed, but yeah, a bunch of stuff. The video is going to cover I wouldn't say the most important stuff, but some of the big things that they did to the game. One thing I don't show in the game because I didn't have that problem, but I know a bunch of people did, was the career bug where the NPC, you couldn't find him and you couldn't progress in the career. So that supposedly has been fixed. Let me know. I'm on PC and haven't had that problem and have had a lot less issues than some of you guys on console. So let me know in the comments if it has fixed that problem for you. But like I said, pause the video and you can see if what you were hoping was fixed has been fixed. But this first track you kind of saw, we're switching over to Detroit, but the first track was Orlando and this is Detroit. We showed these two tracks in a video earlier with the terrain deformation. The terrain deformation was absolutely crazy. It was insane. The tracks were very difficult to ride. The terrain deformation was maybe just a bit too crazy, but they changed it a bit. So Detroit, or Orlando, I mean, they made it more consistent with the rest of Supercross tracks where you have 2 or 3 main lines around the track. And after a certain point, it does tear up, but it never gets to the point where you couldn't, before you couldn't turn the bike in the corner sometimes because of how rough the track got. They kind of got rid of that and just made it tear up more normal, And Detroit is pretty similar. Detroit actually can still get really rough, but they did rework the sand a bit. The sand is so much better. It feels like you're actually kind of riding in sand. Before it kind of felt like, especially when it got rough, you were riding above the sand. So they kind of reworked that section, and I feel like that was probably the worst part. This is Loretta Lynn's. We have a new track. It's from the 2022 AMA Pro Motocross track pack from the 2022 track pass. And if you have the DLC, you get the track. If you don't, I don't think you get it. But yeah, it's pretty cool. It's very similar to the way it was in All Out, but if they didn't change anything, they can't change it. I mean, they made it fit the game quite well, but yeah, it's pretty similar to what we know Loretta Lynn's to be. And I decided to use the 250F because one of the things they supposedly improved was the 250F sound. So I didn't really notice anything. I mean, they definitely did something. I mean, they said they did, but maybe it was just smoothing out something. I mean, I don't design audio, so I don't really know, but the overall sound is pretty similar. And so that's the reason we wanted to use the 250F. But yeah, it's not the best lap. The track was actually pretty crazy. It's pretty rough. There's a bunch of ruts everywhere. It was really fun to play, but we're not the best in first person. It probably is my favorite camera angle in the game. It looks great. I know some people don't like it. That's fine. You're not changing my opinion. I think it looks fantastic, and being able to customize the camera is huge. So got Loretta Lynn's, and so we're just missing Fox 2. Now I do believe MX vs ATV said something that those tracks, or that track, will release when the owner is ready for the layout to be shown. So whenever that is when we'll probably get it. I want to show you they did add in button mapping. So it isn't fully customizable, but they said they won't or can't do that. So you have presets, and I'm fine with that. I know people might be upset, but hey, it's better than nothing. They're listening, they're trying, and hopefully, one of these presets will work for you. I know that using the thumbsticks for the shifting was a big problem for some people. So now you can change it. And they also did improve the auto transmission. I switched over to the manual right away. That's usually what I do. So I don't know if it was a problem on PC, but I never ran into it. But the auto is better. Supposedly the bug of getting stuck in certain gears is fixed, and it felt pretty good. I did test it out on the 450 and the 125, and it felt good. It felt like it was made specific to what bike you're using. So the 450, it never went into first gear. It was always in second, third, fourth, sometimes fifth if we're on an outdoor track, but for the most part, it felt really good. It felt very comparable and competitive to the manual. It felt very similar. Now, I think the manual should be better. I think you should get rewarded for knowing when to shift and actually controlling it. But I don't think the auto shouldn't be competitive if you don't want to play that way, such as multiplayer. So the auto feels good. It feels like you could for sure compete with the manual, but I still think the manual is the better way to go. But overall, it felt pretty good. The 125, like I said, felt different. It felt like it dropped into first gear a bit more and just worked the way you would want to use the transmission if you're using manual on a 125. So felt like they did a good job. Hopefully they fixed the bug for whoever was having that problem. I know a lot of you on console were having that issue. Again, on PC, I don't know because I don't use the auto. I generally always use the manual. So yeah, pretty good stuff. Here at the end, we are gonna switch over to Budds Creek. I know I haven't shown Budds Creek, Spring Creek, Loretta Lynn's, or Fox 2, but we don't even have Fox 2. Gonna do a video with all those tracks whenever we get Fox 2. So whenever Fox 2 comes out, we'll have that video for you, showing you the last track that we don't have, and then I'll probably throw these tracks we haven't done into that video, so it should be 4 tracks. So yeah, we're taking a quick look at Budds Creek, but it isn't so much because it's Budds Creek. They did adjust on the traction, so the ground physics a bit, to make it more fun to hit the ruts, and mostly I'm talking about the pre-made ruts. This track is pretty rough, pretty ruddy. You don't push out of them as easy, and you can hit them faster. So it definitely is more fun to play or ride the ruts after this update. And of course you can still push out over them or go too fast, you blow right by them, but for the most part, the ruts feel really good in the game now. I think this was a good change for the game. You can use the right stick a lot more and still not push up over the top. Yes, again, you can. It's not foolproof. You can push out over the top of them, but you can use the right stick a lot more and not slide out over the top of them. Now, I don't know how much this will affect the terrain deformation, so the ruts and the lines that the AI or the player carve on the track. I tested it there, but not very much, so maybe it affects that part too, but the pre-made stuff, it definitely felt good, and it worked pretty awesome. I mean, it's much better. I felt like it's a subtle change, but at the same time, it felt like it was a big change, you know? Definitely makes the game more fun to play, and I know people still complain about the traction a bit, so this should help a little bit with it. Now, I do want to talk about something that the MX vs. ATV was saying about future patches. So this was 1.08, and they were talking about 1.09 and beyond. So they want this game to be kind of a live service game where instead of a game such as like MXGP, you get the game, maybe you get a patch or two to fix a few bugs, maybe a DLC, maybe no DLC. They want this game to keep getting updates and changes and DLC in the future to come. They don't want to just have it be here, fix a few things, and then drop it. They want it to be a live service. They kind of did it with All Out, where, you know, Flying Moto Ranch got 2 tracks added. They changed the AI, they added time of day, reworked the ground physics, changed the 2-stroke sounds, you know. That's kind of what they want to do with this game. They said they want to work on rider animation, so hopefully he doesn't appear so stiff. They want to work on sound. Hopefully they can do it with the 4-strokes and the 252-stroke especially. Maybe they can do some big changes there in the future and make them sound a lot better. They mentioned they do want to keep working on that in the future. The terrain deformation, hopefully they can make it more consistent and add it you know, what you have in Supercross to the Pro Nationals here. And they said they have plans to add more vehicles, so maybe more 2-strokes and maybe a 50. We don't really know. I know they mentioned a 3-wheeler at one point, so we'll have to see. The DLC, they have the Supercross tracks DLC coming in the future. They have a bunch of parts and gear coming that they have licensed partnerships with that aren't in the game. They just need to put it in the game. They've confirmed a Pro Rider compound, motocross track, supercross track. They do want to get the game in a very stable place and squash a bunch of the bugs that they have. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. But you guys and girls are absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for the support on the channel lately. It really does mean a lot. And until the next video, take it easy.